month, Gameranx puts together a list of the notable releases coming down the pipeline over the next month. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on Gameranx, the top 10 new games of July 2023. Starting off with a really good one, in my opinion. I love the previous Pikmin game, so Pikmin 4's release in July is one I'm looking forward to. So, on the surface, what we're looking at is a pretty straight continuation of Pikmin 3. Captain Olimar's crash landed on a new planet. You go to save him. You also crash land. Doesn't sound terribly different from Pikmin 3. However, there's a large visual upgrade to this version of the game, and there are a number of new mechanics, including new Pikmin and a new dog, Ochi, who will be very useful in a lot of different situations, both in attacking enemies as well as acting as a flotation device, enabling traversal across water, which, as you know, with certain Pikmin can be a big problem. In terms of new Pikmin, you're going to be able to freeze water with an ice Pikmin, and also, interestingly, there's also going to be a glow Pikmin who can scare enemies away at night, meaning there's going to be some night gameplay in this game, which I find super interesting. As I said before, big visual upgrade. This game was made using the Unreal Engine, which is not particularly normal for Nintendo in-house development. It leads me to speculate they are thinking about forwards compatibility, because man oh man has that Switch been around a long time now. And if they wanted to, it would be very easy to bring Pikmin 4 built on Unreal Engine to whatever the next console is. Probably easier than something proprietary and designed specifically for Switch. I love Pikmin. I'm excited for a new one. It's coming out July 21st, and if that's too long to wait, they just released HD remasters of both Pikmin 1 and 2. That's available now. All of this, of course, is only on Nintendo Switch. At number 9 is My Friendly Neighborhood, a Sesame Street / Mr. Rogers Puppet World. I forget what that place is called. It's that, but as a horror game. So take your trolley on down. There's a demo if you'd like to try it. I did. It is maybe scarier to certain people. I don't find stuff in the demo particularly scary. I do enjoy it, though. It probably will startle you a bit. It did startle me. I want to give it that. But it really is reminiscent of the Backrooms and the various games about the Backrooms to me. I think the demo is pretty fun, actually. And I do think that there's certain people that'd probably terrify, at least from what I've experienced in the demo, but it's a specific kind of person. That said, I don't think you need to be that kind of person to enjoy this game. I don't think it's particularly important to be afraid of it, to enjoy it, and I'm also sure that it probably progressively gets scarier than it is in the demo. I don't know, it could end up frightening me once I get into the real game to a certain extent. I don't know. It's fun though. I enjoyed it a lot. So I am looking forward to playing My Friendly Neighborhood, the full My Friendly Neighborhood, when it lands on Steam July 18th. Again, there's a demo that you can play right now to see if it's something you'd enjoy. At number 8 is The Expanse, a Telltale series. Not specifically just Telltale games or the new Telltale games, but also co-developed by Deck 9. No strangers to narrative series. Deck 9 developed Life is Strange Before the Storm. The Expanse is a prequel to the television series The Expanse, so expect to see a lot from what is a pretty well-liked science fiction show, which itself is based on novels. I've seen a lot of people who have actually had their hands on with the first episode describe it as a very good return to form for Telltale, which is not actually specifically the same company anymore. That said, apparently they recreate the magic. That's good to hear, too, because, they've been kind of sorely missed. I've also seen some comparisons to Dead Space, particularly in the Zero-G segments, and I think that's pretty interesting sounding. Now, nobody said that this is like a major upgrade over the original Telltale formula, but it is an upgrade. Everything I've heard about it, I'm fairly excited for, although I'm not really that familiar with The Expanse as a series of TV and print narratives. The Expanse, a Telltale series, is landing on the PlayStations, the Xboxes, and on PC July 27th. At number 7 is Oxenfree 2 Lost Signals. the sequel to Oxenfree, which was frankly a really interesting game. I loved it. It was kind of a horror mystery, but I wouldn't call it real horror. It's more of kind of psychological horror, maybe cosmic horror. It's about interdimensional rifts and a crew that was thought long dead from a nuclear submarine attempting to possess some kids who were stuck on an island. It's a really interesting game. It's a game with a really distinct look to it, and it looks improved upon for the second entry. It is not a direct continuation of the character's story from the previous one. It's centered on a woman named Riley Poverly. They were a bit mum on the story details, and what they gave out is not necessarily super explainable in terms of a 1-minute summary of the game, but it's definitely intriguing. It involves electromagnetic interference, and, well, let's just say I'm excited to play more Oxenfree. It's a very good adventure game, great atmosphere, great storytelling, and the way they handled dialogue in the first game apparently has been upgraded, and I really liked the original, so I'll definitely be playing Oxenfree 2 Lost Signals when it lands on the PlayStation's Nintendo Switch, Android, iOS, and PC on July 12th. And number 6 is Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, landing on the PC, which I'm gonna go ahead and say really gives us some interesting things to think about, as the game in some respects acts as a tech demo for incredibly fast SSD loading, and it also brings up The Last of Us Part 1, which was not a good port at launch. Mostly good now, but that's also not Insomniac. When you look at Insomniac, you got Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales, which have pretty great PC ports. So it's gonna be an interesting ride, because again, that whole SSD thing may very, very much impact this game. There were areas of this game that literally load on the fly, so it'll be something to see exactly how they compensate for that. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is landing on PC July 26th. And number 5 is Testament, Order of the High Human. Kind of a mix of Metroidvania and RPG. This first-person action-adventure does have a pretty unique look to it. Now, there's a fair amount of puzzling and platforming, as one might expect with that description of it, but what has caught my eye is that they're claiming to have a quote-unquote new form of swordplay in the game. I don't know exactly what that means, obviously. There's obviously various things that we can pick out from what we see. They're slashing in different directions, they're stabbing. I'm not 100% sure what makes it new, and they don't really say anything in any of the marketing materials that tells you exactly how it is. But that being said, reasonable to assume, because they talk about learning the system, that you will find out all about it when you play the game. It looks cool, looks like a unique world, has some fairly stylized elements to it, but I mean, I've seen other people describe it as a Skyrim-style Metroidvania, and I can't argue with the visuals at least, but if they actually do deliver on that, and we get a Metroidvania in first person that actually kind of nails that description, I'm there for it. Testament, The Order of the High Human is landing on the PlayStations, the Xboxes, and PC July 13th. And number 4 is Unholy, a game developed by a very small developer who is really accomplishing some incredible visuals given their size. Basically, this game is about a child's disappearance in a post-Soviet town. And there's kind of like a normal version of the Soviet town and then like a Stranger Things type upside-down version of it, which they're calling the in-between. There's a lot of mechanics that are kind of explained, but it's a little difficult to elaborate on. There's masks. You can craft them, and they have an effect on your skills. There's also emotions that you use during battle. Desire, shock, sadness, and anger. And there is also a demo you can play right now on Steam, but it doesn't really get too far into these systems as to show you what they're capable of. It's less than an hour-long demo, and there is most certainly a narrative going on that they have split up over the course of the demo so you don't get spoiled. So the stuff going on in it is a little disjointed. Pre-warning, it is a good demo though, and this is a very well-made title considering how small the developer is. Hell, it actually looks like it gives AAA games a run for its money in terms of visuals at least. Again, the demo's a little limited, so I can't really tell you if it's going to do that in terms of gameplay. Again, it's available on Steam now to play the demo, and will be launching July 20th on PC. It'll be coming to consoles at a later date, which has not been specified yet. At number 3 is Jagged Alliance 3. Just for your awareness, Jagged Alliance 2 came out in 1999. It's a turn-based strategy series that actually does set itself apart from XCOM in a few tactical considerations, like whether or not it tells the player that they have a chance to hit the opponent. So they might be making you more blind. It might be more difficult, but it's definitely something different. This is one of those games that they've tried to make for a very long time, first announcing it in 2004. It's been through many different developers and, 2 decades, nearly. It definitely looks good, though. Like, obviously, we don't know exactly how it's going to play on account a lot has happened since Jagged Alliance 2, but, that game was pretty good as well. With any luck, this will retain the charm, but perhaps bring us some modern gameplay innovations in the genre, and we're going to be seeing exactly what this thing is all about when Jagged Alliance 3 launches on PC July 14th. And number 2 is Exoprimal, a new team-based action game where humans with exosuits are pit against dinosaurs. Yes, it absolutely looks ridiculous, and yes, it actually looks pretty fun. You gotta love it when Capcom goes all in on a bizarre premise. Taken from their website, this is the God-honest truth of what the story is. The year is 2040. Sudden dinosaur outbreaks have engulfed the globe in a crisis that threatens humanity's very existence. That's it. So the way this game works is there's both PvE and PvP. You have 2 teams of 5 players competing with each other as well as with a dinosaur outbreak. And a dinosaur outbreak is exactly what it sounds like, at least as far as what it looks like. It looks kind of like the Days Gone dinosaur horde attacks. Capcom is bragging about a new AI that they're using for these outbreaks, and there's also other modes, but it does look like it's got promise, honestly. My one concern is that it sounds kind of like a free-to-play game, and it's a $60 game. That could go in a very good direction or in a very bad direction. It really depends on how it ends up playing, what you end up getting, if they're going to continue to develop more content for it, etc. That said, it looks promising and very interesting at very least. Exoprimal is landing on PC July 14th. And finally at number 1, it's Remnant 2, the sequel to Remnant from the Ashes. A pretty damn well-liked game that's basically like a third-person shooter Dark Souls. It's a good combination of things. It's a lot of fun. If you haven't played the original, I would definitely recommend it. Remnant 2 has, quote-unquote, significantly expanded upon the procedural generation stuff from the first game. And honestly, it looks like a pretty good sequel to what is a very good game. Also fun that there is a 3-player cooperative mode. That's not new, but it's there. It's definitely a good way to play the first game, and I look forward to the second game. Remnant 2 is landing on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC July 25th. Few bonus games for you. Sea of Thieves, The Legend of Monkey Island, a crossover project. The first of apparently 3 tall tales. I don't know if the other ones are going to be crossovers, but it definitely looks like a very cool Sea of Thieves setting to exist in. Next is F1 Manager 2023, which is basically like if you were the guy handling the business end and the technical end of racing rather than the driving part. Next is Synapse, a first-person shooter / telekinesis VR game for PlayStation VR 2. Of particular note, Jennifer Hale and David Hayter, better known as Solid Snake and every woman character in every game. Oh, and also Naomi Hunter in the Metal Gear series. And finally, Double Dragon Gaiden, Rise of the Dragons. A new Double Dragon game that really looks like old Double Dragon games. It's kind of, I like to call it kind of pixel art plus, in that it does stuff that really would not have been possible in old school pixel art, but looks very old school. Reminds me a lot of if Scott Pilgrim vs. the World were forced to look more like Double Dragon, and I'm really excited to play that as well.